Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Malcolm. Okay, today I'll be taking racism rate in UK schools. When discussing about school racism rate, it is important to understand the way in which different form of racism can manifest in school. This can vary depending on factors such as ethnicity, skin color, religion, and socioeconomic background. However, it is crucial to recognize that racism can appear in a British school context, which might create a passive hierarchy or system of discrimination. This should be treated carefully and used all as a tool of better understanding and addressing racism rather than reinforcing stereotypes. Black students, African, Caribbean, or mixed races, black students, particularly those from Africa and Caribbean backgrounds, often experience a high level of visible racism in school. This could be related to skin color, cultural stereotypes, or prejudices about their socioeconomic status. Black students may also more likely to face disciplinary measure, leading to a school to prison pipeline in some areas. Okay, here I'll be taking on a video about Amira Dati. We'll be talking about how she faced racism in school, how the teachers treated her, and how other students treated her.
I'm now welcome Mr. Adatia, who's going to be talking about his experience.
I was told that I had rabies because I was black, 7 years old. There was the constant use of the M-word around me in a predominantly white school, 8 years old. I was picked on because of my race and was eventually attacked by another boy. I received a harsher punishment than him for defending myself, 10 years old. The headmaster of my school said the M-word in a lesson teaching about slavery. She also held a makeshift auction where she sold off the only black student to the other white students, 12 years old. Every year, we celebrated Black History Month by watching the same 4-slide presentation on the first black footballer. One year, we managed to talk to the first black Queen's Guard, but instead of asking relevant questions, like how was your experience been as the first black Queen's Guard, we asked, what's the Queen's favourite food? Within the first term at my new school, a boy came up to me and my friends and told us to give him sweets or he would whip us. He said we were slaves who should be picking cotton and should call him master, 14 years old. A teacher told my friend he was a type of student who would end up in the gutter doing crack cocaine because he left his English book at home, 15 years old. At 16, the use of the M-word around me by white students is still prevalent. Every day, I face covert and overt racism, being called a monkey, a slave, a dirty immigrant, a watermelon muncher, or a KFC merchant, amongst other things. The above experiences are just a small number of what I have experienced and now normalize. And whilst these, of course, are problematic and difficult to deal with, what I find most difficult are teachers perpetuating these issues and their lack of proper support when something happens between students or other teachers. I think this is due to poor racial literacy among teachers and no mandatory requirements for them to explore bias that I know exists for me and other black students around the country in areas such as unequal exclusions, grade predictions, and student expectations. Recently, I found out about a study from Yale University that found that teachers are more likely to direct their attention to white students when looking for positive actions and black students when looking for negative behaviors. In the study, 135 educators looked at videos of children aged 4 and 5 in a classroom. Each video had a black boy and girl and a white boy and girl. While the teachers were asked to detect challenging behavior, no such behavior existed in any of the videos. Yet, when asked which children required the most attention, 42% of the teachers identified the black boy. Even though I attend a very academic school, I still feel that this mirrors my experience and that teachers' expectations of me have been low. I also feel that there have been many assumptions about who I am and who I am not based on their biases, and this has massively impacted how I engage with them. My school environment more widely and at times my academics. In fact, I have not spoken to a black student who feels different, so I can only conclude, alongside the data, that exists that black children in education do not have inclusive and equitable experiences in relation to their peers. I think that racism in my school is the way it is for many reasons, such as a lack of understanding or sometimes even ignorance. But I think that one of the biggest reasons is the lack of diversity within teaching staff. In my school, probably close to 99% of black staff are in catering, caretaking, or support. In my opinion, this creates a hierarchy within the school, which students subconsciously or consciously pick up on, placing black people at the bottom. This results in worsened attitudes towards black people, showing how structural issues can end up affecting interpersonal relationships. And I think that this pattern could be seen throughout society, such as in football, how there are a lot of black players but relatively few black managers, or it can be seen in the NHS, how there are a lot of black cleaners and nurses, but significantly less black doctors and surgeons, or even how there are no black FTSE 100 CEOs, CFOs, or CPOs. In my opinion, on top of there being greater diversity within the staff of my school, what will improve my experience as a student would be for my school to provide greater education on topics related to race. I think that in my school, race is often ignored, and instead of trying to work past it, we should highlight the fact that race does exist. Within education, the data supports that these unequal experiences and outcomes, and I think that school leaders as well as the government need to be honest about how this shows up on institutional levels and then structural levels. Until this happens, I don't think that much will really decrease the effects of internalized racism across the wider community. For me, having spaces like this to share my experiences where they are believed and seen as actually important really help. And I just want to say thank you to BAO for the opportunity. However, I am aware that I will leave here and go back to a space where my blackness is something that massively impacts how the environment interacts with me and how I therefore interact with the environment. And that sense of powerlessness will still remain.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.